How could the man I loved for a decade hide an entire family? I stood in our kitchen, the one we dreamed of renovating, staring at the bank statement. $20,000. Our house deposit gone. Drained in secret transfers over months. My hands shook as I traced the numbers, each one a stab of betrayal. Ethan, my husband, had always been the steady one, the man who planned our future with me. We'd spent years saving, scraping every penny for our dream home. Now, the account was nearly empty, and the transactions led to a name I didn't know. Karen Whitaker. I felt my world tilt, the floor unsteady beneath me. Who was she? Why was he sending her our money? I clutched the paper, my heart pounding, and dialed his number. He picked up, his voice casual, as if nothing was wrong. Hey, babe, I'm just leaving the office. I didn't respond. I couldn't. The truth was clawing its way up my throat, but I swallowed it. Not yet. I needed answers. That evening, he walked through the door, all smiles, oblivious to the storm brewing. I held up the statement, my voice cold. Ethan, where's our money? His face froze, the color draining from it. He stammered. It's nothing, just some investments. Investments? The lie was so flimsy, it almost made me laugh. I pressed harder, my voice rising. Who is Karen Whitaker? His eyes widened, and for the first time in 10 years, I saw fear in them. He tried to deflect, saying it was a client, a work thing, but his hands were trembling. I knew him too well. He was lying. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay beside him, the man I thought I knew, and felt like a stranger was breathing next to me. By morning, I made a decision. I wouldn't confront him again, not until I had proof. I started digging. Bank records, emails, even his phone when he wasn't looking. It didn't take long to find her. Karen Whitaker lived an hour away, in a modest house with a teenage daughter named Lily. Social media painted a picture. Karen, a single mom, posting about her daughter's soccer games, her job at a local bakery, her life. Nothing screamed mistress or secret lover, but the money trail was undeniable. Ethan was funding her life, our future. I drove to her address, my heart a drumbeat in my chest. The house was small, with a tidy lawn and a tricycle out front. I knocked, and Karen answered, her face kind but tired. I didn't know what I expected. Anger, maybe, or guilt, but she just looked confused. Can I help you? She asked. I held up the bank statement, my voice shaking. Why is my husband sending you money? Her confusion deepened, then shifted to shock. Your husband? She whispered. That's when Lily appeared, a lanky girl with Ethan's eyes. My stomach dropped. Karen invited me in, her hands nervous as she explained. Ethan had been in her life for years, claiming to be a distant friend, helping with rent, school fees, even Lily's braces. He told her he was single, a businessman with no ties. She had no idea he was married. I felt sick, but not at her. At him. Karen's voice broke as she apologized, tears in her eyes. Lily stood silently, her gaze fixed on the floor. I left that house with a fire in my chest. Ethan hadn't just betrayed me. He'd built a second life, a secret family, with our money. I drove home, my mind racing. I could confront him now, scream, throw him out. But that wasn't enough. He'd taken everything from me. My trust, my future, my dream. I wanted him to feel the weight of his lies. I wanted revenge. Over the next week, I played the part of the oblivious wife. I smiled at Ethan, cooked dinner, asked about his day. He relaxed, thinking he'd dodged the truth. But I was planning. I contacted a lawyer, quietly moved money to a new account, and gathered every piece of evidence. Bank statements, emails, even photos of Karen's house. I wasn't just building a case for divorce. I was building a trap. One evening, I suggested a dinner out, just the two of us. He agreed, all charm, oblivious to the storm coming. At the restaurant, I slid a folder across the table. Open it, I said. His smile faltered as he saw the contents. Every transaction, every lie, laid bare. You have a daughter, Ethan, I said, my voice steady, and a woman you've been funding with our house deposit. His mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time, he was speechless. I leaned in, my voice low. You thought I wouldn't find out. You thought you could take everything from me. But you're wrong. His eyes darted around, searching for an escape, but there was none. I made sure of it. The restaurant buzzed around us, oblivious to the wreckage of our marriage. I stood, leaving him with the folder and the bill. As I walked out, I felt lighter, like I'd shed a weight I hadn't known I was carrying. But this was only the beginning. Ethan had no idea what was coming. The days after the restaurant felt like walking on a tightrope. Ethan came home late, his face a mask of guilt and defiance. He tried to explain, claiming Karen was just a friend he'd helped out of pity, that Lily wasn't his. But the lies crumbled under the weight of evidence. I didn't argue. I didn't need to. I had a plan, and every move he made only tightened the noose. I kept my routine normal, work, errands, even small talk with him, but inside I was a storm. My lawyer, Sarah, was a godsend. Sharp and relentless, she helped me freeze our joint accounts and file for divorce. "We'll hit him where it hurts," she said, her eyes gleaming. "He won't walk away with a dime." "I like that feed." It matched mine. Meanwhile, I reached out to Karen again. She was hesitant, still reeling from our first meeting, but she agreed to talk. We met at a coffee shop, Lily in tow. The girl was quiet, her resemblance to Ethan haunting. Karen explained more. Ethan had been in their lives since Lily was a toddler, always there with cash or gifts, always vague about his own life. "I thought he was just kind," Karen said, her voice heavy. "I never asked for the money." I believed her. She wasn't the enemy. Ethan was. Then came the twist I hadn't seen coming. Karen pulled out an old photo from her purse, her hands trembling. It showed Ethan, younger, holding a baby Lily, his smile wide and proud. "He told me he'd always be there for her," Karen said. "He promised." My heart stopped. This wasn't just financial betrayal. Ethan had been a father to Lily, a role he'd never offered to me, even when we talked about kids. The pain cut deeper than I expected, a fresh wound on top of the old. I drove home in a daze, the photo burned into my mind. Ethan wasn't just cheating with money. He'd given another family the life we'd planned. That night, I sat alone in our bedroom, staring at our wedding photo. The woman in it felt like a stranger, naive and trusting. I wasn't her anymore. I was someone new, someone who wouldn't let Ethan's lies define her. The next morning, I called Sarah and told her everything. "We're not just going for divorce," I said. "I want him exposed." She nodded, already drafting a plan. We'd use the evidence to confront him publicly, somewhere he couldn't hide. His job as a financial advisor relied on trust. Trust one was about to shatter. I started dropping hints to his colleagues, subtle but pointed. "Ethan's been distracted lately, I'd say, or he's handling some personal investments." They'd nod, curious but clueless. I knew the gossip would spread. Ethan sensed something was off. He started hovering, asking if I was okay, if we could talk. I brushed him off, my smile tight. "We'll talk soon," I promised, knowing it would be on my terms. The confrontation came at his company's annual gala, a glitzy event where he was set to receive an award for integrity in finance. The irony was too perfect. I wore a red dress, bold and unmissable, and carried a USB drive with every damning document. As Ethan took the stage, all charm and confidence, I slipped the drive to his boss, who I'd tipped off earlier. "You might want to see this before you hand in that award," I whispered. The room buzzed with anticipation as Ethan began his speech, but I saw his boss's face change as he skimmed the files. The air shifted. Ethan's voice faltered as his boss stepped forward, cutting him off. "We need to discuss some discrepancies," he said, his tone icy. The crowd murmured, confused. Ethan's eyes found mine, and I held his gaze, unflinching. He knew. The gala descended into chaos. Colleagues whispered, clients pulled away, and Ethan stood frozen, the award slipping from his hands. I didn't stay to watch. I walked out, head high, feeling the weight of 10 years lift. But the victory was bittersweet. I'd exposed him, but the cost was our life together, the dreams we'd built. I drove to Karen's house, needing to see her, to make sense of the wreckage. She was waiting, her face pale. "Is it true?" she asked. "Did he lose everything?" I nodded, and for a moment, we were just two women betrayed by the same man. Lily appeared, her eyes red from crying. "He's my dad," she whispered. My heart broke for her, a girl caught in a mess she didn't make. I hugged her, surprising myself. "This isn't your fault," I said. She nodded, tears falling. As I left, I realized the fight wasn't over. Ethan would try to claw his way back, and I had to be ready. Ethan didn't go quietly. After the gala, he came home raging, his face red, his voice a snarl. "You ruined me," he shouted, slamming his keys on the counter. I stood calm, my arms crossed. "You ruined yourself," I said. "You lied to me, to Karen, to everyone." He lunged forward, not to hit me, but to intimidate, his shadow looming. I didn't flinch. I'd spent years shrinking for him, but not anymore. "Get out," I said, my voice steel. He laughed, bitter and hollow. "This is my house, too." Not for long, I thought. Sarah had already filed the paperwork to evict him from our shared assets. He had no idea how deep my plan ran. The next day, he tried to play the victim, calling friends, spinning a story about a misunderstanding. But the evidence was ironclad, and the whispers had spread. His clients dropped him, his reputation in tatters. I watched from a distance, feeling both triumph and a strange ache. This was the man I'd loved, the one I'd built a life with. Now he was a stranger, unraveling. Karen called me, her voice shaky. She'd heard from Ethan, who'd beg her to lie for him, to say the money was a loan. She refused, but the call rattled her. "He's desperate," she said. "Be careful." I thanked her, but I wasn't afraid. I was ready. The twist came when Lily showed up at my door, alone. She was trembling, her backpack slung over one shoulder. "He's gone," she said. He packed a bag and left. My heart sank. Ethan hadn't just abandoned me. He'd abandoned her too. I invited her in, made her tea, and listened as she poured out her fear. She'd grown up believing Ethan was her hero, the dad who showed up with gifts and promises. Now she saw the truth. He was a coward. I wanted to hate him, but seeing Lily's pain softened something in me. She wasn't my enemy. She was a victim, just like me. I promised to help her and Karen however I could. The confrontation escalated when Ethan showed up at my office, disheveled and desperate. "You can't do this," he pleaded. "We can fix this." I laughed, the sound sharp. "Fix what? You stole our future for another family." He grabbed my arm, his grip tight, but I pulled free. "Touch me again, and you'll regret it," I said, my voice low. He backed off, but his eyes burned with something dangerous. I knew he wouldn't stop. That night, I installed cameras around the house and changed the locks. Sarah warned me he might try to retaliate, maybe even legally. "He's got nothing left to lose," she said. I nodded, my jaw tight. I come too far to back down. The next week, Ethan filed a counterclaim, accusing me of defamation and financial sabotage. It was a desperate move, but it stung. He was trying to drag me down with him. Sarah was unfazed. "He's got no case," she said. "We've got the receipts." Still, the legal battle loomed, and I felt the weight of it. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. Karen and Lily were tangled in this too. I met with them again, this time at their house. Lily was quieter now, her anger replaced by resignation. Karen showed me a letter Ethan had sent her, promising to make things right if she sided with him. She tore it up. "He doesn't get to control us anymore," she said. I admired her strength, but I saw the toll it was taking. We were all exhausted, but we were united. The courtroom became the next battlefield. Ethan's lawyer painted him as a generous man misled by miscommunications. I sat in the gallery, my heart pounding, as Sarah dismantled their lies. She presented the bank statements, the emails, even a photo of Ethan with Lily. The judge's face was unreadable, but I saw Ethan shrink in his seat. The truth was undeniable. As the hearing ended, he shot me a look, part fury, part defeat. I held his gaze, feeling the power shift. He'd underestimated me, and now he was paying the price. But the victory fell hollow. I'd won this round, but the war wasn't over. Ethan was still out there, plotting, and I had to stay one step ahead. I drove to Karen's after, needing to see her and Lily. We sat in their small living room, the air heavy with shared pain. "What happens now?" Lily asked. I didn't have an answer, but I knew one thing. We'd face it together. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't alone in this fight. The courtroom victory was a spark, but Ethan's collapse was the fire. He lost his job the next day, his firm citing ethical breaches. Social media buzzed with the scandal, his name dragged through the mud. I watched it unfold from my laptop, a mix of satisfaction and sorrow. This was what I'd wanted, his world crumbling, but it didn't erase the years I'd lost. Karen called, her voice steady but strained. "He showed up here last night," she said, drunk, yelling about how we ruined him. My stomach twisted. I'd known he was desperate, but this was new. "Did he hurt you?" I asked. She said no, but Lily had been terrified. I told her to get a restraining order and promised to cover the legal fees. We were in this together now, an unlikely alliance forged by Ethan's lies. The twist deepened when I found an email in my inbox, sent from an anonymous account. It was a photo of me leaving Karen's house with a message, "Stop, or you'll regret it." My blood ran cold. Ethan was watching me. I forwarded it to Sarah, who urged me to go to the police. "He's unhinged," she said. I agreed, but I also felt a surge of defiance. He thought he could scare me? He was wrong. I filed a report and upgraded my home security, but the threat lingered like a shadow. Ethan's next move was bolder. He showed up at our old house, banging on the door at midnight. The cameras caught everything, his slurred shouts, his fists against the wood. "You can't take everything from me," he screamed. I watched the footage from my phone, my heart racing, but my resolve firm. I called the police, and they took him away, his face a mask of rage. The restraining order came through the next day, but I knew it was just paper. Ethan was spiraling, and I had to stay sharp. Karen and Lily moved to a new apartment, one I helped pay for. It felt right, easing their burden. Lily started opening up, sharing stories about her life, her dreams of college. She wanted to be a doctor, she said, her eyes bright with hope. I saw myself in her, the girl I'd been before Ethan's betrayal. I promised to help with her applications, maybe even a scholarship. Karen hugged me, tears in her eyes. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. I shook my head. We're family now in a way. The legal battle dragged on, but Ethan's case was crumbling. His lawyer withdrew, citing unpaid fees, and he was left scrambling. Sarah pushed for full control of our assets, arguing that Ethan's fraud had forfeited his rights. The judge agreed, and I felt a weight lift. The house, the savings, everything we'd built was mine. But the victory was tainted by Ethan's next stunt. He posted online a rambling video accusing me of fabricating everything. "She's obsessed with destroying me," he slurred, his eyes wild. The video got traction, and for a moment, I felt the old fear creep in. What if people believed him? But the comments turned against him, calling out his lies. Karen posted a response, simple but devastating. "He lied to me too. He left my daughter fatherless." The internet erupted, and Ethan's last shred of credibility burned away. I met with Sarah to plan the final steps. "He's got nothing left," she said, "but he's still dangerous." I nodded, knowing she was right. Ethan's collapse was complete, but his desperation made him unpredictable. I started carrying pepper spray, checking my locks twice. One night, I found a note slipped under my door. "This isn't over." My heart pounded, but I didn't call the police. I called Karen instead. "He's trying to scare me," I said. She was quiet, then said, "Let's end this together." We devised a plan. Not revenge, but justice. Karen had kept records of every payment Ethan made, every promise he broke. We compiled them into a public letter, addressed to his former clients, his friends, anyone who'd listen. We posted it online, tagging his old firm. The response was immediate. Outrage, support, even apologies from people who'd believed him. Ethan's name became synonymous with betrayal. He vanished after that. No more notes, no more videos. I heard he'd left town, chasing a fresh start he didn't deserve. The house felt empty without his shadow, but it was mine now. I started redecorating, painting over the memories. Karen and Lily visited, bringing laughter and warmth. We weren't just survivors. We were rebuilding together. The pain of Ethan's betrayal lingered, but it was fading, replaced by something stronger: hope. The dust settled, but the scars remained. I walked through the house, now half empty, its walls bare where our photos once hung. Each step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself, but the silence was heavy. Ethan was gone, physically, at least, but his betrayal echoed in every corner. I'd won the legal battle, secured the house, and exposed his lies, but victory didn't feel like I'd imagined. It was raw, jagged like a wound still healing. Karen and Lily became my anchor. We met weekly, sometimes for coffee, sometimes just to talk. Lily's college applications were coming along, her essays full of a resilience that made me proud. Karen found a better job, one that didn't rely on Ethan's handouts. We were building something new, not just for ourselves, but for each other. The twist that lingered was Lily's question one evening. "Do you hate him?" I paused, the weight of it hitting me. Did I? Hate was too simple. It was grief, anger, and loss tangled together. "I hate what he did," I said finally, "but I'm done letting it control me." She nodded, understanding more than a girl her age should. The world kept turning, but Ethan's shadow didn't vanish entirely. I got calls from old friends, some offering support, others fishing for gossip. I kept my circle small, trusting only those who'd stood by me. Sarah, my lawyer, became a friend, her no-nonsense attitude a lifeline. She warned me to stay vigilant. "Men like Ethan don't just disappear," she said. She was right. A month later, I got a letter. No return address, but his handwriting was unmistakable. "I'm sorry," it read. "I never meant to hurt you." No mention of Karen or Lily. No real remorse. Just words, empty as ever. I burned it in the backyard, watching the flames eat his lies. It felt good, final. The community rallied around me in ways I hadn't expected. Neighbors dropped off casseroles, colleagues sent flowers, even strangers messaged me online, inspired by the letter Karen and I posted. "You're so strong," one wrote. I didn't feel strong. I felt human, piecing myself back together. Karen and I started a small fund for Lily's college, using some of the settlement money. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Lily hugged me when I told her, her eyes shining. "You're like my mom's hero," she said. I laughed, brushing it off, but her words stayed with me. I wasn't a hero. I was just a woman who refused to break. The house became my sanctuary. I painted the kitchen bright yellow, a color Ethan hated. I planted a garden, something I'd always wanted but never had time for. Karen and Lily helped, their laughter filling the yard. We were an odd family, bound not by blood, but by survival. One evening, as we sat on the porch, Karen handed me a photo. It was us, me, her, and Lily, smiling at a local fair. "This is what matters," she said. I nodded, my throat tight. Ethan had taken so much, but he hadn't taken this. The legal loose and tied up slowly. Ethan's counterclaim was dismissed, his reputation beyond repair. I heard he was living in a cheap apartment somewhere, working odd jobs. Part of me wanted to feel sorry for him, but I couldn't. He'd made his choices. I made mine. I started volunteering at a women's shelter, sharing my story with others who'd been betrayed. It wasn't easy, bearing my scars, but it helped. I saw myself in their eyes, the pain, the fear, the spark of hope. I told them what I'd learned. You can lose everything, but you can rebuild stronger. Lily got into college, a small school with a great pre-med program. Karen and I threw her a party, the house alive with music and laughter. As I watched them dance, I felt something shift. The ache was still there, but it was quieter now, drowned out by love and resilience. I wasn't defined by Ethan's betrayal anymore. I was defined by what I'd built in its wake. The garden bloomed, the house glowed, and my heart, though scarred, was whole. I looked at Karen and Lily, my unexpected family, and knew I'd found something Ethan could never take. I was free, not just from him, but from the weight of his lies. The future was mine to shape, and I was ready. Freedom came with a cost, but it was worth every tear. The house, once a battleground, was now a home again. I hung new curtains, bright ones that let the morning light flood in. Each small change felt like a victory, a reclaiming of my space. Karen and Lily were constant now, their presence a reminder that family isn't always what you expect. We'd cook together, swapping stories, laughing over burnt cookies or Lily's latest college essay draft. They filled the silence Ethan left behind. But his ghost lingered. A neighbor mentioned seeing him in town, looking gaunt, like a man haunted. I didn't care where he was, only that he stayed away. The restraining order held, and the police had his photo. Still, I checked the cameras every night, a habit I couldn't shake. Sarah kept me grounded, updating me on the final legal steps. "He's got nothing left to fight with," she said over coffee. "You're free and clear." I nodded, but freedom felt fragile, like it could crack if I wasn't careful. The twist that hit me hardest came from Lily. She showed me a journal she'd kept, pages filled with memories of Ethan, birthdays, soccer games, promises he never kept. "I thought he loved me," she wrote in one entry, her handwriting shaky. I read it alone, tears falling. She was just a kid, caught in his web. I vowed to be there for her, not as a replacement for him, but as someone who wouldn't let her down. I started mentoring at the shelter more, finding strength in helping others. The women that were like me, hurt but not broken. I shared my story, not as a victim, but as proof you could rise. One woman, Maria, grabbed my hand after a session. "You make me believe I can do this," she said. Her words hit me hard. I wasn't just healing myself. I was lighting a path for others. Karen and I grew closer, our bond forged in shared pain. We'd sit up late, talking about everything and nothing. She told me about her dreams before Ethan, how she'd wanted to open a bakery. "Do it," I said one night, half joking. She laughed, but I saw a spark in her eyes. The next week, she showed me a business plan scribbled on a napkin. I offered to invest, using some of the settlement money. "We're in this together," I said. She hugged me, and for the first time, I felt like we were more than survivors. We were dreamers. Lily's college acceptance letter arrived on a rainy afternoon. We screamed, danced, and cried, the three of us tangled in a hug. I framed the letter, hanging it in my living room next to the photo from the fair. It was a reminder we'd built something beautiful from the ashes. The community noticed. Local papers wrote about our story, not the scandal, but the strength. 3 women, one unstoppable bond. One headline read. I cringed at the attention, but Karen loved it. "Let them see us," she said. "Let them know we didn't break." She was right. We were a story of resilience, not ruin. Ethan's name faded from the headlines, his existence a footnote. I heard he'd moved states, chasing a job that probably wouldn't last. I didn't wish him ill. I just didn't care anymore. My world was full now, with Karen's laughter, Lily's dreams, and my own quiet strength. The garden was thriving, roses blooming where weeds once stood. I'd sit there at dusk, sipping tea, feeling the weight of the past lift. One evening, a package arrived. No sender, just a small box. Inside was a locket, old and tarnished, with a note. For Lily from Dad. My first instinct was to throw it out, but I gave it to her instead. She held it, her face unreadable, then set it aside. "He doesn't get to buy me back," she said. I nodded, proud of her. We didn't need his apologies or his trinkets. We had each other. The shelter became my second home. I started a support group, a place for women to share and heal. Karen joined sometimes, her warmth lighting up the room. Lily volunteered too, reading to the kids while their moms rebuilt their lives. We were a chain, each link stronger. For the others, the house glowed with new memories, dinner parties, game nights, moments that felt like home. I was no longer the woman Ethan betrayed. I was someone new, forged in fire, surrounded by love. The future stretched out, not a shadow but a promise. The seasons changed, and so did I. Spring brought new blooms to the garden, their colors a quiet rebellion against the past. The house was alive now, filled with laughter, music, and the smell of Karen's baking experiments. Lily was home for the weekend, her college stories lighting up the room. We'd become a family, not by blood but by choice, each of us carrying scars but wearing them like badges. Ethan's name was a distant echo, like a storm that had passed. I'd hear rumors sometimes. He was in another state, working odd jobs alone. I didn't feel joy at his fall, only a quiet relief. He couldn't hurt us anymore. The shelter had grown, our support group, now a lifeline for dozens of women. I'd stand in front of them, sharing my story, and see their eyes light up with hope. You don't have to stay broken, I'd say. You can rebuild stronger. They believed me because I'd done it. Karen's bakery was taking shape, a small storefront with her name on it. I'd invested more than money. I'd given her my belief, and she'd run with it. Lily helped on weekends, her smile brighter with every passing month. She was thriving, her dreams bigger than Ethan's shadow. The twist that sealed our story came unexpectedly. One day, a lawyer contacted me, representing a woman Ethan had scammed years before Karen and me. She'd seen our letter online and wanted to join us to hold him accountable. We met, 3 women bound by his lies, and decided to file a class action suit. It wasn't about money, it was about justice. The case grew, more women coming forward, each with a story of betrayal. Ethan had no defense. The court ruled against him, ordering restitution he'd never afford. It was the final nail in his coffin, but for us, it was closure. We celebrated that night, not with anger, but with joy. Karen's bakery supplied the cake, Lily DJ'd, and the shelter women joined us, their laughter echoing. The house was full, not just of people, but of life. I looked around, my heart swelling. This was what Ethan could never take. Our resilience, our love, our future. The garden was my sanctuary now, a place to reflect. I'd sit there, watching the roses sway, and think about the woman I'd been. She was still part of me, but I was more now, stronger, wiser, unafraid. Karen and Lily were my family, the shelter my purpose. I'd lost a husband, a dream, a decade, but I'd gained so much more. One evening, as the sun set, Lily handed me a drawing she'd made. A house, a garden, 3 figures standing together. "This is us," she said. I framed it, hanging it beside her acceptance letter. It was a reminder. We'd built something unbreakable. The world kept turning, and we kept growing. Karen's bakery thrived, Lily aced her exams, and I found peace in helping others. The pain of Ethan's betrayal was a scar, but scars tell stories of survival.